Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to episode 244 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name is Geige, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a good week. Really excited to be here with all of you. For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you all do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. That's why we're calling it Ask StreamYard. So if there's anything you'd like us to touch on tonight, feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll do our best to get to as many as we possibly can. And then I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional streams. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. I see folks tuning in from all over the world tonight. I think I saw Japan and Ireland. Very, very cool. I already see we have lots of great questions we'll get to in a second here. Before I forget, we have lots of awesome content happening on StreamYard. We have YouTube channel reviews with Dee and Daniel the second Saturday of every month. Really great show if you're looking to grow on YouTube. Both of them are pros when it comes to all things YouTube, all things video. And the show's really fun where they'll pick a channel and give specific advice on things like how to think about, your niche, things like thumbnails, everything you need to know when it comes to YouTube. And then we have Enhance Your Live Streams the last Tuesday of the month with Nick Nimmin, who, again, is a pro when it comes to all things video. So tune into that with your specific live streaming questions. And then one thing we've been doing at the start of these shows so that we get to know a little bit more about you and you get to know a little bit more about us is a fun fact. And the fun fact we had for tonight was, do you prefer DC or Marvel? Do you have a preference, Dan?
I definitely don't have a strong preference, but I've always been a big Iron Man fan. So Marvel would be my favorite. How about you?
Awesome. Yeah, like you, I don't have a super strong opinion on it. I think they're both pretty cool. I feel like I have to pick DC just because as a kid, I was a really big fan of Batman and would wear a Batman costume a lot. So I gotta go with DC.
That's awesome.
All right, let's get to some questions here. Data is King says, I noticed that the background picture appears first when I share my screen at the start of my live. How can I fix this? I assume Data is King is what you're doing is, you're screen sharing, like you have your screen share ready and it's on screen and then you're hitting go live. If that isn't the case, do let us know. If that is the case and you are still seeing the background first, it is something we would definitely like to solve, but let us know if that is the case. As a workaround, one thing you could do is start your stream similar to how Dan and I do during these, is start with an overlay on top. Obviously, you're not going to be immediately starting with the screen share, but at least then you'll have a seamless transition from the overlay to the screen share.
Yeah, and also be curious if it's a matter of you already have your screen up and then you go live and people see the background for a second, or if it's you're screen sharing mid-show and people see the background for a second, because that one I'm also aware of. I would like to try and improve that a little bit. It's basically just that we're changing the layout and also starting the screen share at the same time, so you can sometimes see the background with a spinner for half a second or something. But yeah, I would like to see if we can improve that a bit.
Ryan says he's new to StreamYard. Well, great to have you here, Ryan. Hope it's working well for you. And Paranormal says third anniversary with the podcast with StreamYard. That's awesome. Paranormal, super happy to hear that.
Cool.
Awesome. Let's see what else we had here. Helmar says, it's 3 a.m. here for me, but I'd like to suggest a scenes feature that applies a layout and overlay with one single keyboard shortcut. Yeah, that's a great point, Helmar. One thing I've mentioned in the past is that custom layouts were sort of our first step into keeping things as easy as we possibly can. But for folks who do want to go deeper and have more flexibility when it comes to controlling more aspects of the stream, giving them that power. And there is the next iteration of that coming, which will address, I think, most of the things you want to do when it comes to the feature you're mentioning. So stay tuned on that. And Helmar also suggests please add proper audio meters so they can make adjustments to a guest microphone before I start the show / recording. Absolutely, Helmar. Something that we've gotten a lot of folks have also mentioned that, and it's something that we'd like to add. Also, Marianne's question is similar. The best way to test the audio before going live. So yeah, that's to answer your question, Marianne. That's a big reason. Helmar's suggestion I think is relevant and is something we'd want to add. But as it is today, the best way to do it would probably be to first do a test recording, potentially, is probably the easiest way to just quickly check how everything looks and sounds before you go live. Understand that isn't necessarily the easiest, but that is probably the best way to ensure it's going to be what you expect. Any other thoughts on that one, Dan?
The other thing we have considered is kind of allowing you to do that within the studio. So instead of just showing audio meters, we could also play or record some audio for you really quickly and play it back to you to make sure it sounds nice as well. Because sometimes maybe your audio level is correct, but actually it sounds a little weird, like if there's something going on with your mic. So I would like to add a bit more functionality. Like Geige said, you can just hop into another studio and do a quick recording, and that'll tell you. But yeah, we'd like to make it easier for people.
Awesome. See lots of great questions here. Junk Drawer says, what's the easiest way to use a phone as a second camera / guest on the basic plan? So the easiest way for now, Junk Drawer, on any plan, whether it's free, basic, or higher than basic, is probably to just join as a guest yourself on that phone and make sure it's muted so that there's not like extra audio happening from the phone. It's probably the easiest way to do that. Wanda's Work Basket, I like the channel name, says, do you see working within Podia in the future? That's a good question, Wanda. It's been a while since Podia has been mentioned. I believe it's like a teaching course platform, right, Dan? If you don't remember, no worries. I think that's what it is. If I'm wrong, Wanda, please do let me know. But I do think like with the features like on air and whatnot that we have now, it is something we'd love to support more platforms like that, like the type of thing where, hey, I've got these people that signed up for my course and I want to do a webinar for them. It's something that does make sense. I'll double check what Podia is after this to make sure, but potentially, absolutely. Paul says, do you have any recommendations for getting the best audio? That's a good question, Paul. So it really depends on your audio setup. So if you have a more advanced audio setup, like say you are using headphones, maybe you have like an audio mixer and a high quality microphone, and you have full control over your audio environment, and there's not going to be like random noises in the background. Your best bet there is probably to actually have the audio processing options that we have on StreamYard disabled, because that way there's not going to be anything altered with your audio. Exactly what you put in is what's going to come out of StreamYard. But if that's not your setup, if you're just say you're on your phone without a headset, or you're not wearing a headset at all, and you don't really have full control over like noise in the background and stuff, then I would actually have all of those settings on is your best bet for getting the highest quality audio. All right. Luigi says, why do we only get 20 hours of stream time on StreamYard? I assume you mean on the free plan, Luigi. That's a good question. So the main reason, Luigi, is StreamYard is a cloud-based platform. So what that means is basically the reason why you're able to stream pretty easily from your phone or even a low-power device like a Chromebook is because StreamYard actually does the transcoding and mixing on our own servers. So we have lots and lots, and a server is basically just like a computer. So we have lots and lots of our own computers. So every time you stream, it actually costs us quite a bit of money. So we can only give so much on the free plan. We want to make sure, and we also figured 20 hours was enough where if you were doing a podcast or a regular live stream, we felt it was pretty generous that you could fully like do a regular show and not be limited, but there's only so much we could do there.
Yep. And it is unlimited on every paid plan as well.
Cool. Paul has a good question there. Paul says, met some of the team at Podcast Movement and they provided great information. What other events are you planning to attend? That was actually one of the topics we had for tonight, which is Vid Summit. We're going to be at Vid Summit. And we were curious how many of you will be there as well. It is actually close to Dan and I. So although we couldn't make it to Podcast Movement, we will likely be at Vid Summit for at least a day or so to get the chance to connect with folks. So hopefully we'll be able to see you, some of you there.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be fun. So we'll have a bunch of team members there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Abigail says, question, a YouTube channel, I stumbled upon a feature from StreamYard, hand gestures that create side effects on the screen, i.e. 2 thumbs up equals fireworks. What's the full menu? So StreamYard does not have a feature that incorporates hand gestures yet, Abigail, at least not yet. It's a cool idea. So they must have been doing something in addition to StreamYard. Like they must have been using something that they were bringing into StreamYard to have that type of effect. Budgeting, Chris from Budgeting, just because says, hey guys, YouTube has a poll option in the chat when live. Can StreamYard do that since YouTube has it? You want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah. First question. I'd be curious if you mean, do you want us to integrate with YouTube, or are you referring to something like StreamYard on air, or just having our own thing on StreamYard? I would say we're open to both. I don't think YouTube has an API for polling right now, but even if it did, I find a lot of people don't tend to use it. So even like when Facebook used to have polling, we didn't add an integration with it. But we're definitely open to it. It has come up before. Yeah, curious if you actually want us to integrate with the YouTube one, or if you'd want something with on air or something else, because we've definitely considered having it for StreamYard on air, and we probably will add it at some point.
Awesome. So yeah, if you could let us know. Awesome, chef. We'll be excited to check it out, to see your cooking show. Let's do one or two more here and then get into some of the topics we had for tonight. Let's see here. Reportify says, when will you add improvements to graphic overlays? I'd be curious, Reportify, what kind of stuff you'd like to see. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but we are making some updates to backgrounds soon, which I think you'll think are exciting. So stay tuned on that. But I'd be curious in general what kind of stuff you'd like to see when it comes to graphic overlays beyond what we have.
Yep.
Michael Daniel says, I would love the ability to create live YouTube shorts sharing my screen. That would be an awesome feature no one else has. Live, that is. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Dan?
Just to make sure I'm understanding it, is Michael asking for portrait live streaming? Is that your sense?
I'm not 100% sure. If you could let us know, Michael, that would be helpful. If you mean, yeah, the ability to do it in portrait, or the ability to sort of, maybe you mean like create shorts in the middle of your live stream, like you're still live and you create a short. Any other details you could add would be super helpful for us.
But in general, we would like to make it easier to create shorts, and especially just as part of repurposing post-production, but I'm not sure if that's actually what you're referring to.
Awesome. Codrian says, would you develop the editing features with StreamYard so that it can be a full platform with everything you need to podcast? That's a good question, Codrian. Hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. We definitely plan on continuing to add lots of exciting functionality to the editor. Pretty soon, actually, I'll be excited to get feedback from all of you when we make some of those changes. The idea is definitely that it will be possible for you to do that, right? Like we don't necessarily want to make it the most advanced editing platform, but if you're just looking to record a podcast and do basic editing and make sure you have some abilities to make it sound as good as it can, but not necessarily go into like every single aspect that you can when it comes to something like
Adobe.
Some of the, like, we want it to be simple
products.
Yeah, the name is escaping me, but
like Premiere.
Yeah, stuff like that. So it'll be a simpler version, Kadri, but we absolutely want to make it where the vast majority of podcasts can do that from right within StreamYard. Awesome, Brandon. Hopefully we can get a chance to chat. That's awesome. Cool. All right. Cool. So the first topic I had for tonight is when it comes to the recent updates on StreamYard, if there is any feedback. Some of the ones that came not so long ago. One was the ability to post to Facebook directly. So after the stream is over, like we were just talking about the editing functionality, the ability to take up to 20 minutes long and post that directly to Facebook. But there's obviously been quite a few other ones over the last couple of months. So if there's any changes you'd like to see, additions you'd like to see us make, or just feedback in general, do please let us know. Pure Adrenaline Sports says, are web sources still in the works? Do you want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah, it's something I think we don't get asked about that often, but once in a while, just for context for everyone, web sources basically being able to put something on screen from another website, basically, if you want to put like a really custom overlay or something like that. It's not something we're planning to ship super soon, but as Geige kind of alluded to earlier, we are working on the ability to just have more advanced features in general while still making it incredibly easy to use, and web sources would probably be part of that. So not coming up next week or anything, but definitely something we're interested in.
Cool. Let's see what else we had here. Rochelle says, is there a limit to the number of unique brands I can have in the background of StreamYard? So there is a limit, Rochelle, but we did try to make it high enough such that we didn't think most folks would run into it. So if we find that lots of folks are running into the limit, we'll probably increase it. But right now, what is it? You can have up to 10 brand folders?
10. Yeah, I think it's 10.
So yeah, right now, Rochelle, it's 10. But if that's not enough for you, definitely let us know. Jada says, will it become possible to integrate with Ko-Fi, have the ability to show on screen when folks donate? I'd be curious, Jada. So I think I'm not super familiar with Ko-Fi. I believe it's like a Patreon type product, but if not, do let me know. Is it the type of functionality where are you interested with on air, where it's like, hey, you want to have an exclusive stream just for paying members on Ko-Fi or something like Patreon, or is this something where while you're live publicly, you want to be able to feature, someone donating through something like Ko-Fi? Please do let us know. On the on-air front, it's definitely something that we think is interesting that we're considering supporting in the future, is the ability to integrate with stuff like Patreon. Awesome. Another topic I wanted to get to tonight, was curious if you do. If not, that's interesting too. But when you're streaming or recording on StreamYard, what other apps or tabs do you have open while you're streaming? It's valuable for us to know because it can give us ideas in terms of like what types of things we should integrate with, or just a better sense of your workflow in general. One that I was interested to hear about recently was someone who had chatted about where they actually had quite a few of the Google apps open. Like one was like Docs, so that with their talking points, and even Sheets for another aspect of the show. So just curious, like what kind of stuff you're doing while you're actually streaming and recording would be helpful for us to know.
Yep.
All right, let's see what else we have here. Ring Rival says, is there a StreamYard bootcamp for beginners? That's a cool question, Ring Rivals. So we definitely have a ton of resources for beginners. We don't have anything that's like branded as a boot camp. The closest thing would be, we do occasionally market a sort of like get started with StreamYard that we do every few months or so, where we'll usually send an email to people that have never done a stream before or who are new to using the product, encouraging to sort of join a group together where they'll learn together. So we do occasionally do that. But if you're just looking to get started and learn, the YouTube channel and our online resources should have everything you need. But I would be curious if you've already explored those and there's something else that, like, what would you be looking for in a boot camp? Like, what does a boot camp mean to you?
And Dana also shared in the chat the webinar that we do every week.
Oh yeah, that's a great point as well.
It's for getting started with StreamYard, so that's another good resource. So if you find that link in the chat, that's pretty helpful. Not quite a boot camp, but still very helpful. Interactive, you can ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah, it's a great webinar though, and there's a bunch of other folks who are watching too who are brand new that you'll be able to chat with. So it's a good one. Clement says, will it be possible to continue recording while the live stream ends, as we have a podcast where we just want to continue the recording even when we end the live stream? Yeah, that's a great question, Clement. So you can absolutely remove certain destinations while you're live streaming. But I should know this, but the exact functionality escapes me. And if you've removed all your destinations, why don't you answer the question?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, just to give an example, like let's say because you're commenting from Facebook, if you say you're streaming to a Facebook page and then maybe you're streaming to YouTube as well, if while you're live, you just click on them in the top right corner, you'll have to do one at a time, so it'll take you a second, but hopefully that's okay. So you click, say the YouTube one, click remove, and then it'll ask you if you want to delete it. But to be clear, do not click. There's a checkbox that says also delete this on YouTube. Do not check that because that will delete the underlying stream and the recording and everything on YouTube, which you don't want to do. But if you just don't check that, you can remove it. You can remove Facebook, same thing. And then you'll no longer be streaming to them, but they'll still be on YouTube and Facebook. They'll have the recordings, and then you can just keep going and recording. We even have some people that will do that and then actually like re-add those destinations later, or they'll remove certain ones and re-add them later. It's very dynamic. It can be quite a bit of work if you want to do a whole bunch of stuff, but what you said is actually quite straightforward.
Awesome. April has an answer to the question. Super useful, April. Thank you for sharing. It's cool the whole set you have there. So Facebook, YouTube, ChatGPT, Twitter, Instagram, OneNote, Notepad, voice meters, and a bunch of pinned tabs. I'd be super curious the details on some of those. So like ChatGPT, for example, like are you actually using it while you're live streaming? If so, would love to learn more about that. Same with the other ones, like what are you actually doing on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, just to make sure everything's working? Are you actually like actively sharing like tweets and stuff? Would love to know the details there, but great to know the set that you have. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, the same thing for Notepad, for example. Is that for show notes? Is that something else? Are you taking notes as you do the stream, or is it all notes you've taken ahead of time?
Yeah, the answers here are super useful. I'm seeing lots of Google Docs. Canva will definitely go through these carefully. Super helpful to see all of these. Alexander says, is it possible to make surveys during the live stream? Yes. So we don't have a tool directly for it in StreamYard. It's definitely possible in the future that we'll add something related to like Q&A or polls within StreamYard. Right now, the most common way folks will do it is just use something like Slido is a pretty popular one, right, Dan, for doing the surveys. They'll just use an app like Slido and send out that link and just screen share Slido, and that's how they'll often do something like a survey.
Yeah, there's quite a few apps like
that. Russell says, new on StreamYard, can you use 2 different camera angles with one computer? And is there a limit to the number of virtual backgrounds? I uploaded about a dozen the other day, but they disappeared. So yes, you can absolutely use 2 different camera angles with one computer, depending on the plan you're on. So on the Pro plan, we do allow you to have multiple or up to 2 different USB cameras up on screen at the same time. But if you're on a lower plan, the easiest way would be to just join on a different device. So like we talked a little bit about before, like if you wanted to join on your phone or another computer, you could use that to set up another camera angle.
I can answer the virtual backgrounds one. So one thing, it should be saved. Like, I mean, it's possible you're running into an issue, but my best guess would be we do save it per device. So if, say, you're on one device and you upload a bunch of backgrounds and then you're on a different device, you won't have those backgrounds. It is tied to your device. So just a heads up there.
Awesome. Let's do a couple more here, and then we'll get to the giveaway in a second. Michael says, I have regular sessions in our community teaching folks how to use StreamYard. Awesome, Michael. Really appreciate that. That's fantastic. Cool. It sounds like Marianne did have a chance to check out the 5-day challenge with Julie. So yeah, keep on the lookout for the next one of those. Awesome, Charles. Glad that you're enjoying the pausing and starting. Personally, when I use StreamYard to record lots of shorter videos, and it's made a big difference for me.
Just to answer the question for doing polls, so it's Slido. So it's basically exactly how you spell it, slide, but you replace the E with an O at the end. And then there's other ones, I think Mentimeter.
Mentimeter is one that people use sometimes.
Yeah. If
it's literally just a poll, there's like some really basic literal just polling apps like Straw Poll, I think is a pretty popular one. You just Google Straw Poll. I don't remember what the actual URL is. Thanks for the follow-up, Ring Rivals. He said, I would like a boot camp to be hands-on testing of every feature, and at the end of the boot camp, the students should have to submit a pre-recorded live stream displaying that they know how to use each feature. Yeah, that's a really cool idea, Ring Rivals. The 5-day challenge we did is definitely the closest to that, where there was a goal every week of like, okay, we're going to record this type of video and do this. So if you've already signed up for StreamYard, you should be on the email list. So just stay tuned and try to catch the next one of those would be the closest. But I think people were a big fan of it, so maybe we should do them even more regularly.
Yep.
Universal B Network says, question, are you guys going to integrate with Tribal or another answer to Twitter? So I'm not actually familiar with Tribal, but based on your question, I assume it's like a Twitter type app. So we're always open to integrating with new platforms. The main way we decide to do that is just based on demand. So if enough folks are interested in something like Tribal or another type of Twitter app, we definitely will integrate with them. We just want to make sure that it's not confusing and you don't sign up and like have a billion places that you can potentially connect to. So we usually try to limit it to the most popular ones.
Yep.
All right, should we go ahead and start the giveaway for tonight, Dan?
Let's do it. What are we giving away?
Tonight, why don't we give away one of the ducks that I have in the background there and a StreamYard pillow. Yeah, Dan's got it right there. And I think many folks are already familiar, but to be eligible, all you have to do is type in hashtag the yard, and we'll give you 15 seconds or so to get in your hashtag the yards. If you're ever interested in running a giveaway like this yourself, we actually made this tool available. So if you just go to StreamYard.com/giveaway, there's a video there walking through exactly how to use it, and you can do exactly like what Dan and I are doing now. Just share your screen, and you can even choose your own keyword. So instead of hashtag the yard, it could be hashtag whatever your show name is.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, we'll give you your 10 or 15 seconds or so to get it in, and maybe do a couple questions while we wait.
Here's one question: how do you get Facebook comments to show up? It's a good question. So it really depends on where you're streaming to. So if you're streaming to a page, they should just show up in the studio. If you're streaming to a profile, you basically have to make sure that your profile posts are public. And when you're in the studio, if you're streaming to a group or profile, you should see a link at the top of the chat section that kind of walks through the steps for this stuff. Groups, similar limitation, although it's a little different, where you should see the comments. It might just not show who they're from, and there are steps to work around that as well. So again, in the chat section, there should be a link somewhere that helps walk through that. If you're not getting them for a page, then it might be worth reaching out to our support team, and we can look into what might be happening there. Facebook does sometimes, unfortunately, have some weirdness with comments, even with pages, but we're always reporting those to Facebook to try and get them to fix it.
Cool. I think it's stabilized, Dan. Should we go ahead and run it?
Cool. Good luck, everyone.
Actually, it did just go up by one, but I think it's
good. Yeah. Good luck, everyone.
Michael Daniels. I think, Michael, if you don't already have all the StreamYard stuff, we'll certainly send you another pillow and another duck, but I'm pretty sure you've won in the past, so let's go ahead and run it again.
Cool. All right. Take two. You never have too much StreamYard swag.
That's true. There's some newer stuff too, so we'll update you regardless, Michael. We'll send you all the new stuff. Josh, congrats. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. If you can send an email to contact@StreamYard.com, we'll send you your brand new StreamYard duck and your StreamYard pillow.
Cool. Congrats, Josh. And Michael?
Yes. Jordan says, enjoying the pause and play feature, loving it. Awesome, Jordan. Happy to hear that. Rochelle says, any updates on teleprompter within StreamYard? No updates, Rochelle. It's definitely something we're open to. It's one of the reasons why I asked that question earlier in terms of like the types of apps people have open while they're streaming or recording on StreamYard, because I'm curious, how many people are using something as a way to like sort of recreate a teleprompter. So definitely something that we're open to. All right. And with that, this was episode 244 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us and giving us your feedback. It's always a pleasure being here with you. We have lots of really cool stuff coming soon, so stay tuned. And we'll see you next week, Sunday, at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Perfect. See you next week, everyone.